Hello, my name is Linda Hauk, and I'm doing this video for 3 reasons. I want to have a ready-made product that I can allow people to understand my story. And I've enjoyed the personal stories of other people, and I want to share mine. And I hope this video will benefit others in some way. So I just want to say that I'm going to be reading a lot of my material so that I can keep on track. I just want to show you a graph here of, not very scientific, but it'll give you an idea of some things that you can relate to later on. If we look at a very ordinary person, some made-up person, and they are a neurotypical person, they will be right down the middle of the graph. And then if you compare that with a person that has Aspergers syndrome or autistic people in general, they're going to be low on things like public interaction, communication, that kind of stuff, but then they will excel in other areas, and that's a lot of the things that are different about us. So I'm going to share with you some things about Asperger's, specifically and generally about autism. When I was first diagnosed with Asperger's in 2012, I was indignant. I couldn't see myself as mentally challenged with all that I had accomplished. So I began to have feelings of hurt and confusion and disbelief. So Asperger's is a part of the spectrum of autism. So it's a developmental disorder which causes the brain to become wired in underdevelopment in some areas and overcompensation by overdevelopment in other areas. It's a spectrum or an array and not a scale. So what's said is that if you meet one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. We are all individuals, very different, but we all have core symptoms that we deal with. And we are characterized by impaired social functioning, sensory issues due to not being able to filter out these influences, repetitive and often obsessive interests, and Aspies have an average to high intelligence and can excel or exceed our peers. We all manifest differently on this spectrum. We change and grow, but some symptoms can only be managed while other traits can be changed through learning. We have a life in flux and we don't stay the same. 1 in 110 people are diagnosed each year with autism. More children will be diagnosed with autism this year than AIDS, diabetes, and cancer combined. So some things that are specific to me about social interaction. It's very difficult for me to read vagueness or nuances such as facial expressions and body language, the nonverbal cues. I'm very concrete in my thinking, so if someone isn't literal about what they're saying, I can miss what they're saying completely. And I can often miss the thoughts or feelings of other people. I have trouble making inferences about what others are thinking, can say something without considering the feelings of others, and this can cause anxiety about the results of my wording because I don't know how it's going to come off. I don't know how they're going to respond, either inwardly or outwardly. I don't know when it's my cue to enter a conversation. I may not be able to tell if others are angry or are sarcastic. I have trouble interpreting unwritten social rules. I can appear rude, standoffish, bluntly honest, and misinterpreted due to my few facial expressions and emphasis on trying to process information. As I grew up, I had to learn by trial and error how to interact with others without the aid of understanding nonverbal cues, as if there is an invisible foreign language that I do not understand. I've often rehearsed in my mind conversations or experiences beforehand to help me fit in to social correct behavior. The reactions of others can cause friends to end a relationship suddenly and without reason, leaving me confused and frustrated at not knowing why. An over-talkative person can exhaust me within just a few minutes. And it's as if my brain will just check out. Difficulty in accessing intended words and sentences during times of making a point or trying to explain something and forgetting my point. And so now I'd like to explain to you what it's like for me in a description that I made about what goes on when I'm trying to use words. Losing words can happen at the most inopportune time. As I'm processing through each sentence, trying to make my point and to defend myself, for example, the most articulate important word will drop out of my head. I can see the word as I'm starting the sentence sometimes, but when I process the information of the sequence of words, the main word drops out. Since I have seen the word either prior or to getting to the end of the sentence or recalling it from my rehearsed memory for a second, to move it verbally into place in the sequence, it drops out just before needing it. It's as if the word falls into a box sitting on the floor in front of me, or suspended in the air along with numerous other words in the mix, with the drop word mixed into the clutter. And so as I rifle through these words, I lose the complete spelling with only a letter or few coming back to the forefront of my mind. It may appear as if the word starts with a letter I can visualize, but may rather be a letter in the middle of the word, as I'm forced at this point to do an energy-intensive search for the word. I may lose my audience's patience and their silence, being interrupted by them without allowing me to finish my point. This can be ultra frustrating. It can make me want to scream. If I desire to push the point, I must search for an alternative word, less than accurate than the original intended word. And some of the other things that I deal with that are characteristics about me. I'm high in judgment when making decisions and seeing a sharp contrast between right and wrong. I'm humorous at times. My humor is very dry, and so people can't always interpret what I am saying. In fact, they might interpret that as being rude, negative, or matter of fact. When I'm talking to someone, I get to the point that I need to process my idea. I need to look away from the person to think through the words. When being in a group of people and trying to enter into a conversation, I often wonder if what I want to say will become a natural piece of the conversation, or will it become like an offshoot, which makes the conversation go off track. I don't want to waste people's time, and therefore, I tend to be selective about what I say to get the best results for my effort. There's a saying, even a fool when he is quiet, people will think he is wise. Or the other phrase, a fool is known when he opens his mouth. So my point is not that I am a fool, but you can kind of understand my emphasis here. I want to say the best things, and I want to filter out the things that don't work. I want to use language in such a way that I can relate well to people, and I can get somewhere in a relationship, whatever relationship it is. Lost things here. So it is very frustrating to want to enter into a conversation knowing full well what the subject is and having something important to add. That it is confusing just how to take a turn. I value the comments of others, but it can be the most frustrating thing to be able to be heard with so many other people dominating the talk. I'd like to take a little break here, and maybe you would too. I'm going to do some more videos following this. And thank you for watching this. I appreciate your time.